Sometimes you can't break through. It's all you do. It's so sad sometimes that you leave it. It takes time to believe it. But after all is said and done, we're gonna be the joyful ones. Yeah. Do you believe in love? We can feel something inside say we really don't think we're strong enough. No. Do you believe in love? We can feel something inside say we really don't think we're strong enough. No. What are we supposed to do? It's surrendering your children, we can do that. And there's no turning back. But we need time to move on. We need love to be strong. Cause we got time to think it through. Stay quiet with a revolution, yeah. Do you believe in life of love? We can feel something inside say we really don't think we're strong enough. No. Do you believe in life of love? We can feel something inside say we really don't think we're strong enough. No. Well, I know that we'll get through this. Cause I know that we are strong. We don't need shout anymore. We don't need mistrust anymore. We don't need falseness anymore. We don't need denial anymore. We believe in life above. We can feel something inside say we really do know we're strong enough, yeah. We believe in life above. We can feel something inside say we really do know we're strong enough, yeah. We believe in life above. We can feel something inside say we really do know we're strong enough. No. We believe in life alone.
I feel like I'm one of Donna's groupies. You know, it brought back a really fond memory for me. You guys know I'm a big sports fan, specifically Philadelphia. So, and the Patriots when they're losing. But most importantly, Eric Lindros. Okay, Eric Lindros is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame for hockey. Young man that came in and became a Philadelphia Flyer. Well, I found myself following him around. Not good. So I'm outside the spring training camp, and I'm waiting for him to come out of the practice. And then I looked around and realized that I was 25 years older than anybody else waiting. And then I realized that I may have a problem. I walked away. It's a TV school. So today's a busy day for us. We have our annual meeting today. How many of you are here for the annual meeting? Good stuff. It's the last of our business stuff. We're going to elect 2 new board members. We're going to review our budget for 2019 and look at our financial affairs. And so we'll meet back here at 11:30 in this room. So feel free to get a cup of coffee, Kool-Aid, lemonade, whatever's back there, and do your gig. This week, we've got 3 things happening. And, you know, I say, why spread them all out? Just commit to the week, and then it's so much easier, you know? So we have our annual meeting, and then Wednesday we have our first board meeting with the new board. And then on Thursday we have a healing circle. Now this is our second healing circle. And this one is for anything that is brewing within you that you would like to let go of. And in an environment of spiritually upliftment. So plan on attending this Thursday from 1 to 4. It's a 3-hour process. How many of you attended the first one? Yeah, it went really well. And I was given feedback immediately that when the winter folks get here, we should do it again. So we're going to do it again. On Friday is the first of 3 board trainings. If you have ever been on Unity Spiritual Center's board of directors in any capacity, you are invited to attend this board training. And while we're there, we'll figure out when to do board training 2 and when to do board training 3 as a cooperative group. But we're going to do it this Friday. And specifically, we're going to learn how to evaluate a minister. So you'll get that opportunity by evaluating me. And so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to get plenty of rest the night before and be prepared for all the good things that we have to say about it. Because one of the misnomers in evaluation is it's not just the negative, it's also the positive things that a person brings to the table. And so I think that's it. That's good. So why don't we now begin our service with lighting our Christ King.
Surely the presence of our God is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on His face. Surely the presence of our God is in this place.
So now let us just invoke that sweet spirit that resides everywhere in this room as we join together in a communion of love, joy, and community. So dear Mother, Father God, that indwelling spirit within each of us, we ask that we be reminded throughout this day to keep our hearts and our minds open to all that is presented to us today. And so we know, sweet Spirit, you are within us and within our neighbors. And so we see that Christ light glowing out from us, reminding us that we are walking this beautiful path with God as our partner, as our way shower. For we come together today to share in the message of a good God, a message of an all-providing God. And so we allow ourselves to be present today, not worried about the busyness of later, but we just allow ourselves to be here right now for this ever so short period of time. And so thank you, Mother, Father, God, for bringing us together for this beautiful day as we experience Christ's presence within ourselves and within each other. And so for this truth, we are grateful. And so it is. Amen. Amen.
God, you are every mountain. God, you are every ocean. God, you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every morning. God, you are every midnight. God, you are every moment, every second of my life. Every Everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is God, you are every sunrise. God, you are every moonglow. God, you are every sunshine, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every springtime. God, you are every snowfall. God, you are every season, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is God, you are every next slide. God, you are never mind this time. God, you are strong. God, you always the true professional. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center. My name is Susan Parcel Armagas. This is our spiritual home. We welcome all here today, and thank you for joining us. Please raise your hand if you are here for the first time so we may share our Unity blessing. We've got a couple of people in the back. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold Christ in you. Please join us for snacks and coffee in the community room right after our service today. And then members, don't forget to return to the sanctuary for our annual meeting, election of board members, and election of members for next year's nominating team, a very important meeting. It's time for our community greeting. Hugs or handshakes are always our welcoming energy. You'll hear Hector will make a music signal, and if I need to, I'll ring the bell, and that's your signal to please return to your seat. Go. playing, it's time to be seated, please. On behalf of the activities team, we would like to thank all of you for attending the talent show on Friday night. Thank you. It was a huge success, and we would especially like to thank all the performers who donated their time. And you know, the activities team is at it again. So the next event is March 8th, and it's Jukebox Bingo. Now, for those of you that are not bingo fans like me, I promise you, this is definitely not your grandma's bingo. Rick Mitchell has been contracted to come in and actually run the event. He is an amazing MC. He will do specialty bingo cards that will have you singing along with the songs that you remember. So it'll be a night filled with laughter and memories, and we hope to see all of you there. The reverse drawing team needs a couple folks to gather items for the silent auctions. So if you would, please see Dee Babel or Sue Hashley after our service in the narthex to volunteer. And you've heard that the early bird gets the worm, right? Well, in this case, by buying their reverse drawing tickets early, Mary and Fran Tubis won the drawing for a free ticket. There's one more drawing for another free ticket. So if you purchase your ticket before March 31st, you too can be included in the next ticket opportunity to be drawn on April 7th. So run, don't walk with those checks in your hand. Every Wednesday at noon, there is a prayer service followed by meditation. So please join us here in the sanctuary for a focused and calming experience. Next Sunday is Share a Dish Sunday, so bring your specialty to enjoy with others in the community room after service. Who moved my cheese? No, it's not a cooking class, but it's a workshop that will be held on March 15th, Friday night, and March 16th, Saturday, from 9 to noon. It's a way for us to determine our Unity Spiritual Center sacred cows and what we are willing to do about them. There's a sign-up sheet in the community room for those. And today's prayer chaplain is Carolyn.
Will all prayer chaplains and sacred service today please stand? They have purple stoles on and will be in front after the service to pray with you. If you prefer private prayer, please request it and a prayer room will be used. The daily word for today is believe. I know I'm not going to sing. The Gospels poignantly communicate the Father's pain and frustration when Jesus reminded him that all things are possible for one who believes. The Father's Son suffered from a serious illness that no one, not even Jesus' disciples, had been able to cure. I believe, help my unbelief, the Father cried. His Son was healed. My journey of faith may not always be straight and smooth. I may at times reach the limit of my human ability to believe. In those moments, I surrender to the divine presence within me Affirming, I believe, opens my mind and heart to the faith expressed in the life and ministry of Jesus. Through divine presence, the Christ in me, I believe and find the answers to my prayer. Immediately, the father of the child cried out, I believe, help my unbelief. Please join me in saying the affirmation. I believe. Spiritual power for February is strength. This reflects our ability to endure, stay the course, and persevere. Please join me in saying the affirmation. I gain strength and use it to stay the course, no matter the outer circumstances. Now, if you would join me in blessing the prayer box. Taking a deep breath in, we release all fear, worry, and human emotion. And we focus on the names that have been written down in the prayer box, realizing that they are people with whole lives, whole Christ selves. And we send our love and we send our aiding to these people to help remind them that they have the Christ within. And if nothing else, we give them the affirmation, I believe, help my unbelief. May it be so. Amen. Our meditation song today is I Send My Love.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my power over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. And it returns to me.
Staying in that state of calmness, we breathe. A very conscious breath. Breathing in the attributes of God directly into our bodies. The attribute of love, joy, peace, surrender. A welcoming breath into the very heart of our being, as it facilitates the pumping of all that needs to be within our heart to keep us moving forward. We allow ourselves to be supported by the chair. We allow our lower back, our point of strength, to feel the support of the chair, so that our bodies can become relaxed. We put both feet on the ground to feel the groundedness and the earthy solidness that the floor provides. And we open our hands to be open and receptive to all that awaits us as we allow ourselves to listen to that still small voice of God. And in this posture, we imagine our heart opening wide. Allow him to be the receptor of the breath of God. So during this short time of communion with God, we put aside the outer world. We let that busy thoughts take over later. For right now, we have a clean slate of what awaits us. What we already know is that what awaits us is the goodness of God, the beauty, the divine order of knowing that we have all that we need right in this moment. For God already knows the needs of our heart, the needs of our body, the needs of our mind. It knows. And so we allow His knowingness to permeate our thinking, that where we are headed is where God has prepared us. For there's nothing in our life that we cannot handle when we connect with that inner source, that beingness of God. For in the divine order of life, everything flows. There are no jagged corners. We just gently move forward, and sometimes we even jump forward. But we allow our movement forward with a clarity of heart, a clarity of mind that says, God has prepared this way. I am ready. I am willing to move forward and do what is placed in front of me to do with an open heart and an open mind. A clarity that this forward motion is leading me to my highest and possible good. For our intellect says we want all the good that God has in store for us. But our fear holds us back. So we let go of fear and we take on a consciousness that I believe where I'm headed is good, is perfect, is filled with the knowingness that I am a child of a loving, caring God, evolving into this beautiful life form that we call the Christ. We each are moving forward in our consciousness of who we are. And so for this brief moment with God, we believe we are a child of a loving, caring God who provides all. There is no lack in God's universe. We have it all. So we take this time to seek out the wisdom and guidance of God, because it is where we will go that continues to provide and enlighten us. When we choose to stand still, we lose sight of where God is heading us. So we keep moving in our spiritual unfoldment. So we allow ourselves this moment to be still, to listen, to be connected with that inner knowingness, that intuitiveness, that sweet spirit within us that wants us to hear. So we listen. We listen with our hearts wide open. For the guidance we are seeking is there. So we listen. So ever so gently, we return to this place of now. And in our own ways, we thank God for this moment to listen. And so for this truth, we are grateful, and so it is. Amen. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white. The brightness is day, dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of rainbows beneath the sky are also the faces of people on by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how you do. They say, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They're much more than I know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful Yay, God, right? And I say, let's not think about it. Let's acknowledge that this is a wonderful world. It really is. We forget to say it out loud because we think it all the time. We know that. But to say it out loud has that power. It has that emphasis that says, yeah, it is a wonderful world. You know why? Because you're in it. How cool is that? Because I'm in it, you're in it. We work together as a team. We make this world a beautiful, beautiful place. And it is. It is, by golly, and I believe it is. How many of you believe it is? Yes, amen, right? Yeah, because it is. So I'm sharing with you from the book of John, because that's the deepest metaphysical book, in my opinion. Now, last week we talked about cleansing the temple. And today we're going to talk about his first miracle. And in truth, he has the miracle, then he cleanses the temple. So why did I do one before the other? Because I can't. It's as simple as that. The wedding at Cana. So I'm going to give you a different take, at least that's my intention, on the metaphysical interpretation of this. And it reads in John 2, on the third day, there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine gave out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, what concern is that to you and to me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now standing there were 6 stone water jars for the Jewish rites of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to them, "Fill the jars with water." And they filled them up to the brim. He said to them, "Now draw some out and take it to the chief steward." So they took it. When the steward tasted the water that had become wine and did not know where it came from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew, the steward called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves the good wine first, and then the inferior wine after the guests have become drunk. Right? See? But you have kept the good wine until now. And Jesus did this, the first of the signs in Cana of Galilee, and revealed his glories, and his disciples believed in him. So if we take this literally, we find that, yeah, you know, did he just snap his fingers and the water turned to wine? Maybe. But the point isn't about turning it to wine. It isn't about the miracle. It's about the preparing for the miracle. Because it says in here a couple of key things that I think are important. One, he says it's the third day. And if you really look at John, because it's only chapter 2, and John doesn't start with the birth of Jesus, he jumps right into the ministry. The other 3 books, they go through that whole birth thing, right? But here, he starts out with, hey, he's already in his ministry. We don't need the details before that. But he says on the third day, well, if you count what's actually happening in chapter 1, it has to be the 4th day. Now, I have to think that there isn't a mistake, right? So I'm thinking, okay, if there's no mistake, then why didn't he say the 4th day? He says the 3rd day. Well, it's because the symbol 3 means so much to John. He has to import it as the 3rd day. So there's a little poetic justice here in this, which lends us to realize that we're not supposed to take it literally, but in a broader sense of what does this all mean. So what does 3 mean? You know, there's the 3 days I will rebuild this temple, which happens right after this. After he's done kicking the cows and doves out, he says that I'm going to rebuild this temple in 3 days. We have the resurrection, which is 3 days. 3 is an important symbol for John. So he uses poetic justice and uses the word 3. Well, 3 is also, we find within this story, that there are 3 buckets. Now that's also called a firkin. Firkin, F-I-R-K-I-N, look it up. It means a vessel that holds anywhere from 20 to 30 gallons. So he's at this man's home at the wedding, and he sees the firkins, and he says, hey, fill that up. So if we do the math, 30 gallons, symbol 3 again, and he's got at least 6 of these gallons, according to this, so it's 180 gallons of wine. Okay, you get the picture? Okay, so in Jewish customs, weddings were 7 days. You know, we have trouble, you know, getting all dressed up for 1 day, right? Now, in here, he says his disciples come along. Well, at this point, he's only selected 5. So he doesn't have the whole gang with him yet. But they're high enough up in society that they get invited to the wedding too. So they all know each other. And they're looking for that thing that says he's the one. Hence his first miracle, and then they start to believe in him. Because he does something. Now, when I first came into Unity, I found parking spots everywhere. And people wanted to hang out with me because I was going to find a parking spot. You know, in downtown Philly, that's a tough thing, right? So yesterday, I'm with some friends, and we walk into a restaurant, we make a quick decision, we want to sit outside, but only if we have prime seating. I said, well, yeah, there's a table right there, perfect for us. The place is packed, and there's this perfect table right on the corner for us. So the person that was with me, who doesn't know me very well, says, dang, that was easy. I have been here hundreds of times and have never seen this table empty. And I said, girlfriend, you gotta hang out with me more often. You know, I create this stuff. You know, why not? Because I believe I can, first of all, because that's first-grade Unity. Great parking spots, you know. So Susan goes to Publix last night, it's nice weather, it's a Saturday night, she can't find a parking spot. I said, I should have gone with her. She's driving all over the place, can't find a parking spot, because they're all in the square, right? They're all taking public parking. She said, note to self, I won't go shopping on Saturday night ever again. Now I'll create a parking spot next time. I'll just say no. So, but there's this other term in here that has been taken a little bit out of context, and that is the way Jesus treats his mother. He says, woman, what is that to you and I? That was the custom expression at that time. But some of us have taken that a little out of context and used that language to mean that Jesus was being disrespectful. He wasn't. But he was also mindful that he wasn't going to let his mother tell him what to do. Because, metaphysically, we allow people in our lives to tell us what to do when we're really not ready. Moms know best. So mom says, look, he's going to come around when he's ready to do whatever he tells you to do. Because she knows he's cooking. So at this point, you can imagine the relationship, this mother-son relationship, because she already knows he's the one. She already believes. It's done. There isn't any doubt in her mind. So she's like, we can't let this wedding feast fail without wine, because that's disgraceful. To run out of wine is not a good thing. So the guests all bring wine with them. And that's how they keep this feast going for 7 days. Because everybody brings a bottle of wine with them. You know? And so the weather was probably pretty good and the wine ran out. So it's a disrespect for the bridegroom to not have enough to go around. So mother of Jesus is protecting the bridegroom as well. But also wanting to impart to his new followers that he's the one. So mommy's looking out for Jesus. And he doesn't appreciate it to some degree. He wants to be ready when he's ready. And isn't that what we do? We don't ever let other people tell us what to do. When we're ready by God, we'll do it. Right? But the seed has been planted. And he looks around and says, well, oh, there's some buckets. Let's do this. And off he goes, and he turns those buckets into wine. Good wine. Not this cheap seller stuff. The good stuff. You know, the stuff that costs $15 a bottle. You know? The $9.91, you gotta be suspect of what you're picking up on, right? Where were those grapes? Where were they? He's good. He's totally good. And it's interesting that the servants do not disclose to the wine steward or the bridegroom that this man did that. Why wouldn't they? No one's going to believe him. Hey, that guy over there, he turned his water into wine. Oh, yeah, right. No one's going to believe that. But those that saw it believed. And he started to gather momentum in his ministry. You see, water is a big deal. What does water mean? Water. Human ways we try to deal with the need for physical things. Water's an outer expression. It's our physical way to get our needs met. That's what water symbolizes. Right? When we thirst, we want water. When we add spiritual power to it, along with faith, we have to believe. Because that's what faith is. Healing takes place within us. And miracles, seeming miracles, ensue. Some of us have actually experienced healing miracles in this room. We've made a lifestyle change. We were diagnosed with blank, we made a lifestyle change, and we had a miraculous recovery or recuperation. We get another lease on life. The wedding continues. Because now there's good wine in us. And the cycle continues. But eventually we run out of water, don't we? Eventually we run out of water. And as we have this experience of what the human element calls death, we run out of water. But some of us can extend that by replenishing the water with good thoughts, with a belief that it doesn't have to be this way. You see, when we are preparing our consciousness to receive the good wine, we have to replenish it with the water. We have to continually replenish the very body and the very cells that we have so that it can be receptive to the good wine, the good experience. You see, because we can extend our lives, but only to a certain point. Even those that have experienced the miracles die off as well. When it's our time concept. And so I used to struggle with this because I went, well, wait a second. If I believe, truly believe, that my cells regenerate every 7 years, then why do I die? Is it congruent for me? But the truth is that sometimes we turn water into wine before the consciousness is even ready to accept the new truth of who we are. And the seeding miracle occurs. And so what happens is we don't have enough miracles in our life to sustain this body form, and we die off. But there's a model to this within us, because we will run out of water. But what do we get to do about it between now and then? We get to replenish it with good wine. And the way that we replenish it is every day is a new beginning, a new experience filled with joy. Because there is an ending which is sad. If we focus on the ending, it doesn't bring us joy. It limits us. It puts us in this container of always running out of water versus replenishing it with the joy of how we feel about life. You see, when we really get it, we really believe that God is good in everything that happens to us, we are not saddened with our body deteriorating. We know that we're on to a new life because life never ends. Never ever ends. Our soul continues on. And we'll do a talk sometime on regeneration. But for now, when we shift to that presence, that understanding and clarity that every day is a new beginning, a new opportunity to be joyful with what we have in our lives right now, and not be diminished by those aspects that are running out of water. So last week we talked about, it's never overindulging in whatever. So now it's about the new beginning of recognizing that as we go and become more in tune with who we are as Christ beings, parts of us has to die off in order to accept the new realization, the new consciousness, the new awareness. Does that mean we stop operating in a system of wanting to create miracles? Absolutely not. We see the miracles in all of us. We see them every day. Because the miracle is accepting that I have moved into a new awareness in my consciousness, even if it's a little consciousness. It's gathering, and it's gathering. Because at some point, when our soul is rejuvenated and returns to this earthly form, we will have more consciousness and more awareness than we had on the previous form. But in this consciousness, we run out of water. We can no longer turn it to wine. But in the meantime, let's drink and be merry and turn it to wine. Let's allow this sunrise of this day to be filled with joy and to not lament about the things that aren't going right, especially within our bodies, because it's inevitable. So although I struggle because I have a contract with God for 125 plus. I don't know what your contract is. And then you laugh, but it's true for me. And then I add a footnote. A vibrant 125. Because there's plenty of drugs for me to live 125. I don't want that life. I want to live a vibrant, fulfilled, happy life. 125 is good. It beats my last one, right? We can do it. And that's a part of the regeneration of the consciousness within us. But let's face it, it takes a vacuum cleaner to remove all the negativity that's been in there. To suck it all out. And then if it got sucked out, what would we be replacing it with? You see? So we're taking, that old adage, we're taking 2 steps forward in our consciousness, and sometimes we take a step back. But you never go 2 steps back. Impossible. Because you know too much. You know that. So it feels like you've taken a step back, but you really haven't, because you're in a new state of consciousness. You're in a new awareness of who you are. And that's why we seek out to know more about God, to try to figure this out. What is it about my relationship with God? I want more. I hunger. I thirst for it. I want more, God. What do I got to do? Now you take 2 steps forward and then step back. Well, that's not what I meant, God. Let me rephrase that. Right? So your homework is real simple. It's a changing of our minds Change your mind. See, doesn't it sound so much easier than filling ourselves up with affirmations and consciousness changes? It sounds too darn serious. But we're going to change our minds and not be sad about what our bodies are saying. Take appropriate action, always. But every day is a new beginning, a new opportunity to regenerate the cells that are causing our sad moments. We change our minds about what it is we're here to do. We're here to live a full life. And so yes, we have the hiccups of the sad parts of our bodies, but let's not stay there and linger there. Do what's placed in front of us to do, to have the seeming miracle in our life, because everyone gets treated equally. We all have our form of miracles. Life never ends. Every day, it's a new and wonderful experience with God. Change your mind about the sad times, because experiences of joy are coming. They're here with us right now. Let's not postpone them. Let's grab them with gusto and drink the wine of life so that it doesn't run out. Be the one that says she lived a happy, fulfilled life. Because it is possible. It's a change of mind. It's a change of what we're giving our focus to and our attention. Because when we focus on that part that ails us the most, we're saddened. And nobody wants to hang around with the sad ones. It would be life filled with this energy, this new thinking that today is the day that I get to start a brand new beginning. And I like that. I had a rude awakening on Friday. The shooting in Aurora, Illinois. I babysat my nephew's children over the summer. Some of you know this. He's a police officer in Aurora. His shift started at 2. The 911 call came at 1:20. My niece works for that company and was transferred to the building across the street. Gives me goosebumps. We have an opportunity to live every day to the fullest. Don't hold back. Love people. Hug on people. Be part of their community of acceptance and embrace who they are just the way they are. Put aside our judgments. Be in the moment now with the people that you love. The people you haven't met yet. Be loving to them. Be in love with people you haven't met yet. Because this is truly a new beginning. Don't be saddened by what's happened. Be joyful in where you are, right here, right now. Because when we fill those buckets up with water and turn them to wine, it's a beautiful feast for us. It's a beautiful opportunity for us to be infilled and be in a celebration like a wedding is. Because a wedding is the communion between our outer expression and our inner expression, and it is the communion of the two causes the consummation of what we call a marriage. Our outer thoughts have to connect with the inner thoughts that are good to have that wedding, to commune with it. And that's what a wedding feast is about. It's about a celebration of the inner and the outer, and a communion with two people. Be that wedding. Can you imagine every day being a wedding? Yeah. Get all dressed up. Yeah. Eat the cake. Be part of this wonderful expression of the Christ within you that is lit within you. When the water runs out, be joyful anyway. Allow it to know that this is not your first go around and it's not your last. You have so much more to do in this life and in all the many lives to come. But live today as a new beginning, a wedding feast of your own. Marry your inner thoughts and your outer thoughts together in union and see only God in everything. Believe it is possible, because it is within you. Change your mind. I bless you and Godspeed.
This is a time in the service when we can start practicing the joy. Let's take our gifts in our hands, infuse our gifts with joy as they go out to help others. And if you'll say the prayer with me, divine love as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. Oh, Heavenly Spirit, rich in love abideth, we worship Thee, we praise Thy holy name. Teach us Thy children evermore to love Thee. Thy will be done in earth as heaven today. Teach us Thy children evermore to love Thee. Thy will be done in earth as heaven today. Oh, give us grace to meet the coming morrow. Forgive our errors as others we forgive. Thou leave us not like children in temptation, and from all error thou deliverest us. Thine is the kingdom, thine the power and glory, world without end, forevermore. Amen. And if you all say the prayer with me. Thank you, Spirit, for the gifts that we have received today to be sent forth out into the world. May we realize above all else that God has provided the most minute needs of our everyday lives. Please stand and join us. For our peace song. And let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family And the presence of God watches over